So this year's Game Awards had a big shock. At least it felt like a shock. I'm not gonna lie. Astro Bot won Game of the Year. And I know that it's gotten a lot of people talking about the Game of the Year right now. Look, I played this game. I platinumed the game. Astro Bot is a very fun game. From all accounts I heard, Balatro was a very fun game. In the end, you can make a case that every single game listed is a fun game, right? So the whole it's fun, that's why it should win, that's why I don't buy that. To me, there needs to be like a complete package, right? I feel like a lot of these games were very niche in the end. Astro Bot, not everybody played it. Balatro, not everybody played it. I feel like the games that got the most buzz where a lot of people played it and they have stats to back that up is Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, obviously, and then games that aren't even on this list like Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, etc. I feel like they kind of get robbed when it comes to Game of the Year, and they just strictly go off of what I talked about before, the Metacritic score and what critics are saying. More so, that carries a lot of weight. Based on Metacritic alone, there was only 3 realistic games that were going to win, and that was Astro Bot, Elden Ring DLC, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. They had the highest score this year. I think it was 96, all tied, so it made sense that one of them was going to win regardless. Wukong really had no chance because this was actually a game that was in the 80s Metacritic. Balatro was the next closest. I think it had like a 95 or 93 or something like that. So that one had an outside shot of winning. But like I said, the Metacritic scores have been very important over the last few years when it comes to the Game of the Year. It just so happens that a lot of the ones that have won in the past were a mix of both, where fans were loving it, like Elden Ring when it won, and the critics also liked it at the same time. So to go back to why Astro Bot though felt like a shock, even though I know it shouldn't be because of the Metacritic score, is that there should never have been a reason why you nominated Elden Ring if it wasn't going to win. Because Elden Ring blows all the games out of the water in the end. I don't think there's any doubt, if you actually played it, that this was by far, I mean, Elden Ring has already won Game of the Year. I mean, what you're basically saying is that a game that's won Game of the Year can't repeat, basically. It had a new DLC, which was great, which was still fantastic, and there was no game that could actually match that. I don't know why they decided to nominate a DLC, because I think this is what happened. They nominated it and they're like, okay, well, we did you a favor by nominating it, but you were never going to win because it's a DLC in the end. It got punished for that. And I feel like if they took a lot of percentages from the votes, then I feel like that a lot of people voted against it because of that. Because you could vote what you wanted to do, right? Cast your votes, etc. And a lot of people probably skipped Elden Ring because they all would say the same thing. Oh, well, this is a DLC. That's why I don't like that it was ever nominated. They should either have its own category or put it into the continuing, the ongoing games like they did with Cyberpunk. Because it just doesn't make sense to have this game be nominated and then get punished for it. And that's what I felt happened, for sure. I feel like that's what happened. There should have been no reason why that game didn't win if it got nominated. And I was saying that whenever I did my votes when I streamed. I talked about that before the award show. But I also said that they're going to punish it because of this, and sure enough, they did. Now, you probably got a lot of people that are going to say, oh, well, you know what, you just are a hater, da da da. Look, like I said in the beginning, I played Astro Bot, I platinumed Astro Bot, I did max everything. The game was fun. It's just not a better game than Elden Ring. And I don't feel like it's personally, in my opinion, it's just my opinion. Obviously, it didn't matter in the end what I think. They already voted who won. It was Astro Bot. Wukong was better. And from all accounts I hear, Metaphor and Final Fantasy were better games as well. That doesn't mean necessarily, though, that it was going to have a shot at beating Astro Bot. Like I said, realistically, only 3 games had a chance. Technically, only 2 games had a chance. Astro Bot and Final Fantasy to win the whole thing. And the reason why I took Elden Ring out of this, because like I said, they're punishing it for being DLC. And Final Fantasy, unfortunately for them, they had not high expectation, high sales as expected. They were expecting more, And on top of that, it came out so early in the year. I feel like it got, kind of left behind, or a lot of people don't remember it as well as Astro Bot. Astro Bot had that nice little wave in September, like a perfect timing thing where everybody's like, oh, this is a lot of fun. This might win game of the year. Metacritics agree. This game was up there. And now you have the platformer win. So online, people took this a little bit different. They were not as happy. 2 game of the year's robberies in a row, Wukong and Spider-Man. I don't know about that. Spider-Man 2 did not deserve to win last year. Elden Ring should have won. I'm so upset right now. I agree with this. I mean, like I said, if you're going to nominate Elden Ring, how does it not win? I mean, that's how I feel. Some people think Balatro should have won. Metaphor got robbed, but I could live with this over Elden Ring DLC. See, right here, this is exactly my point. I could live with this over Elden Ring DLC. People wanted to punish Elden Ring because it was DLC. And you could do that, but punish them by not nominating them for Game of the Year. Because it was nominated, however, it should have fucking won. I mean, that's like, it makes no sense that you punish it after it got nominated. You should not have nominated it in the end. They honestly deserve it. The game has so much love poured into it. Genuinely never heard of this game. Silent Hill 2 was robbed the whole night. I do see a lot of people mad about Silent Hill 2, that remake probably deserved a spot over Elden Ring if you're going to punish it for DLC. Let's see, probably given the year, we're talking about a game of the year. In the past, we've had likes of The Last of Us, Uncharted, Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, to name a few. Astro Bot is just not anywhere close to a AAA, but the lack of competition makes it stand out in a subpar year. See, that I don't agree with this though either, because there was a lot of competition. These are a lot of great games up here. I know I talk a lot of shit about Balatro, but I mean, I don't understand how you can say it's a subpar year when you have games that are pretty fantastic. That don't make any sense. If Astro Bot was in the year with the It Takes Two, right, the pandemic year 2020, yes, that statement would make more sense to me. Fluke Guy wins again. Astro Bot is PS5 exclusive. The real reason Astro Bot won, they think it's because of the Sony, I guess. They didn't make it in top 5 players' choice. Somehow won game of the year. Totally not rigged at all. That's another thing too. The players' choice came down to Wukong, which, in my opinion, that means that your vote doesn't matter for this, because I would assume that if Wukong got so much of the fan vote to win its category, then that means this should have won based on fan vote as well. But it might be weighted. Maybe it goes like 25% only fan vote. So maybe all these games were capped at the fan vote, and then they, or let's say that it was first place, it got 25, and then it went down to, let's say Astro Bot was second place and he got 20%, etc., etc. I don't know how they'll divvy it up, and then the critics do the rest of the percentages. But I'm sure that they probably do some kind of scaling like that, because I don't think they necessarily want it to be 100% player choice, or else, yes, Wukong probably would have won, and that makes the other category, insignificant or not relevant, because then why would you have 2 awards for Game of the Year, basically a player's choice and the Game of the Year, all be only fans voting for it, right? So, but that does show that the Metacritic score and the critic score is very, very high, because, like I said, they weren't ever gonna win this Game of the Year without the player vote, because the Metacritic score had been like 80 or something like that. So the critics didn't agree with the fans. They didn't care about anything. There is also, and I've felt this throughout the year, especially with Stellar Blade and a lot with Wukong, there has been, and you can even go back as far as last year with the Harry Potter game. There's a political aspect in this where it feels like there's people that are just happy that a game lost because they don't like the fan base of the game. The Wukong fan base had some people that let's say they were hyping up the game or making the game very popular by being a certain way, basically trashing other games and saying, see, this is either an anti-woke type of game, etc., or the studio, there was some controversy about how they handled things and how they had a little bit of stuff with the with rules on how they cover it. Don't ask about certain things, and I think that also got people not wanting that game to win. So you have a lot of people that are happy that Wukong lost just because of that. Elden Ring, I think, like I said, I think the reason why Elden Ring had no shot is because everyone was punishing it for being DLC, and you should have taken that away if you're gonna put it in the category. If it was nominated, the biases about it being a DLC should not have weighted into that decision for it to win or not. But yet it was the most important decision, because every person that I've asked about why Elden Ring didn't win, the answer is always the same: because it was DLC. So again, they got punished for being nominated, and I don't agree with that at all. Balatro, I talked the most crap about Balatro, I'm not gonna lie. It just seems, look, I know it's a fun card game. I've said it before though. Uno is fun. That's a fun card game. I mean, Pokemon, the new trading PC or a mobile game, is fun, and yet I don't sit there and say because it's so much fun that should be game of the year. I kind of don't agree that this should have been nominated, but a lot of people are telling me I'm crazy that game was a lot of fun, that it should have been. But in the end, Astro Bot did win. I did play this game. It was fun. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that it wasn't a fun game, but man, it doesn't feel like it should have won game of the year. And I don't know how, like, if I stack the games up against each other and I need to choose which one am I going to play right now, I'm booting all the games up at the same time, and I have to play one for 5 hours right now, I'm picking Elden Ring and Wukong. I just am. I'm not picking Astro Bot. Astro Bot is one of those games where you play it once and that's it. The replayability of it is kind of out the window. Once you get the max stars or whatever it was that you get in each stage, there's like no incentive to play anymore. At least with Wukong and Elden Ring, you have, all the enemies pop up again. You have different weapons. You want to try different things. In Wukong's case, you got trying to go for the 100%. You have to run multiple playthroughs. So there's a there's a continuation of a play that makes it a little bit more fun. I would imagine that Metaphor and Final Fantasy has their games that last a little bit longer, so that'll be another reason why that people want to play that more. Balatro, obviously every hand is different, so in cards, whether it's poker or whatnot, so that would be a little bit different. I just feel like Astro Bot is one of those one and done games that was very fun and that you're never gonna play again though. Once you beat it, I'm platinum it and I don't have any incentive to play it again until they announce a new map, and then I'm gonna play that one map and then that's it. I'm not gonna play it again until they add another one. So that's why it's hard for me to say it should be game of the year. But congratulations, still Astro Bot and Sony, y'all got it. I know the Sony guys are happy. I know that Phil Spencer looked pretty upset that Astro Bot won. I think he was more upset about the guy up there talking about layoffs and stuff like that, because that looked like a direct shot at Microsoft, specifically with the Activision and all that stuff. And he doesn't look like he was happy up there. So Astro Bot winning was like a slap in the face to Xbox and Microsoft. So there was that. I know Sony people are very happy about that. Although Microsoft does look like they have a nice bounce back year ahead of them for next year when it comes to the games that were coming out for Game Pass, etc. So we'll see. What do you guys think? Who was your game of the year in the end? Again, I feel like game of the year didn't reflect what the true games that people were really playing this year was. As good as this list is, I feel like Stellar Blade should have been up there. I feel like Helldivers 2 should have been up there. Hell, I think even Power World should have been up there. Power World had a grip on people for a nice solid month in the beginning of the year. So I don't know how that didn't get in there at all over a game like Balatro. But y'all let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm out.